folks, and welcome to their Saturday morning Samoflange. I'm Matt.
I'm Benjamin.
I'm Wes.
And I'm Megan.
Hi, Megan.
Whoa.
Surprise.
There's a girl here.
It's a girl. Finally,
we
we're
got
doing
a girl.
We're doing a big. So Benjamin and I told you on the last podcast we should do one live at Johnny's Pizza.
Live
I'll
at
give
Johnny's
everyone one guess where we are.
1, 2, 3, say it with me.
Pizza
Tinseltown.
Hut. Oh, well, you're totally wrong there.
Yeah,
but anyway, so we did it. We ate pizza.
It was fantastic.
Belly's full.
It's still
brought
delicious.
Wes along. Thanks for coming. Saturday
Thanks for
morning
having
Samoflange.
me.
Yeah.
Great to have you here,
For
Wes.
part one of a 3-part crossover series. Benjamin's going to
dun.
come over to Prince of the Universe next.
Yeah.
And then we're going to end back up here. Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Do I have an
Hopefully we'll see
infinity
what-
gauntlet glove that I snap my fingers?
Well, if you
That's the
snap
last-
it, I lose everything. We have to start all over again, so please don't.
Okay, just want
Now-
to make sure.
The last time, Megan. Do you remember the last time you were on here?
Oh.
Was it Western Sizzling?
No. December of 2018
Amanda,
was the
able to hear
last
you
time you
from
were on the
that far away.
podcast.
Only came
December
for the
of
pizza.
2018?
Yep.
Oh, my word.
Didn't have kids back then.
It's been too long.
That was it. You said, I'm done. And I was like, oh, okay.
Hey, I was done.
There you go, and you were done.
Did you go back and find the archival footage for
What was it?
evidence?
Do you remember?
Well, we haven't. I don't remember what it was about, but we haven't. Maybe it was top 5 movies of the year. That's usually what we did at the end of the year. This is back when you were. Were you away? Were you here?
2018 December. I would have just been in Texas. I would have just gone to Texas. So I wasn't
Okay,
here.
yeah. So you had just left, and I think that was
Yeah.
what it was. But so Megan's back.
Welcome back, Megan.
Thanks.
Happy to have
Only
you.
came for the pizza.
Of course.
Okay,
I
thanks.
I
for
mean,
that.
we need
Okay.
to have food more often if it gets chicks.
I'm telling you. Okay, so we're gonna do top 5
Underrated.
underrated 80s
80s.
movies. Now, here's the thing: if you Google it, did anyone Google?
What's Google?
Okay,
No idea.
I Googled it. Just after I do my list, I Googled to see if I
Yes.
missed anything.
Yes.
All of the forgotten 80s films are films that are way popular. I was like, none of this stuff is forgotten.
Okay. One of the things that we always talk about, Wes, on Top 5 with Saturday Morning Samoflange is we always predict how many crossover we're going to have. Did you do this, Megan? When
I
you
did.
Okay. So
We always do it. So,
and that's what I was going to say. That's a good point with what you were saying. Like, these are super popular movies. What are you talking about? They're forgotten. So that said, how much crossover will we have if my prediction is that your top 5 and the entirety of your top 5 will be so obscure and I will have never even heard of any of it. So I'm going to go straight 0 or even -1.
Wes, Megan.
I think mine will be more mainstream than anybody's.
Okay. Bub, crossover?
Okay, is this, first of all, are we talking 80s or 90s?
80s.
Okay, so my 80s is going to be different. So we might have like maybe well, not with me, but maybe there might be a
You think there might be
crossover.
one with somebody?
You're saying 1.
I'll say with me there may be 1 or 2.
One or
Maybe.
2. Which one do you want?
But, I don't know, maybe 2. But I think mine are going to be so different. Mine are going to be stupid compared to y'all's.
Okay, since
I
we
don't- I
have 4
disagree.
people here, we can't. It's okay if 2 people pick the
Yeah.
same. So I'm gonna have to go 1.
You think
That's
so?
in between 0 and 2.
All right.
Okay, I
have
don't
it.
think it's gonna be
I don't
1.
know.
But
I feel like all of yours
since
are gonna be
Benjamin
obscure.
Benjamin are the main host here, we always got to be different. So 1 will always win.
Right.
But I think you are exactly right. I think it's gonna be 0.
I mean, you said 0?
I said 0, yeah.
I think it's gonna be 0.
Just because I think crossover between me and Matt will be nil. Because
I feel like we may have 1.
okay.
We might have, me and Matt.
And are we
may.
going obscure
I don't-
movies that everybody's forgotten?
Forgotten 80s movies that
Okay.
were good. Well, I picked
And-
some.
But see, here's
It's
the
been a
thing.
while
doing
since I've
another
seen 1 or 2
episode
of
of
mine.
90s?
I would say mine is going to be more underrated. I think
Okay,
people are going
that's
to say.
fine.
Underrated.
We all interpret our
Underrated's
top
good.
5 differently.
Yeah, for sure.
I think what I find forgotten for me is not going to be what you find forgotten for you.
That's
Okay.
true. That's true.
All right.
I agree.
Well, and it's up to anyone's interpretation. Okay.
Agreed.
So since there's 4 of us, we'll have to do some rapid fire here, or we're going to be here for an hour.
Are we doing
Yeah.
the 90s next week?
We're doing 90s next week.
We probably are just going to say I've seen it or not seen it.
Well,
Yeah,
you can give it a minute or 2.
Yeah, me
You know, I'm not going to rush you, but I'm just saying since it's 4 instead of 2, just letting you know.
All right.
Okay. So
ladies first.
what's number 5? We go backwards.
Okay, again, mine's probably stupid compared to y'all's, but
Never.
number 5, I liked it, but I'm a female. as a child.
You're not a female as an adult?
No,
I wasn't
am,
gonna
but I'm
say
just
it,
saying,
but okay,
as a
thank you.
child, being
Yes.
a female.
Yes.
My number 5 would be Adventures in Babysitting.
Good one.
Shut up.
No way. We have our first
Okay,
crossover
so far I'm
right
leading.
off the bat.
What
First-
number? What number?
Number 4.
It was number 4.
Okay, so you both get to talk about it, and you'll skip on
Okay,
4.
Go
so
for it.
I loved it. This was my first Elizabeth Shue
Who was the
movie.
lead girl in
Elizabeth
that?
Shue.
Elizabeth Shue. Okay.
Yes, and the opening of that
Matt's
is what
like, yeah, are you kidding me?
the opening of that show or that movie is what really got me in. Like that song, I would play it over and over. But it's funny because the other day we were watching. Don't kill me. I can't remember what. It was a Marvel movie, and the bad guy that was in it, Matt was like, "Oh, that's so and so from Daredevil," and I was like, "Oh, is it?" I remember him
Kingpin?
as
Hawkeye.
Hawkeye.
Okay, so I remember him as Thor from Adventures in Babysitting,
Oh my god.
and Matt had no clue what I was talking about. And I was
Jeremy
like,
Renner
what?
was in.
No,
No.
Kingpin.
Kingpin.
Kingpin was.
Yeah.
The actor
Kingpin
played
was Thor.
Oh,
He was
you were
younger, but
watching
he had
Hawkeye.
long.
Okay, now I follow you.
But the little girl in the movie was obsessed
Wow.
with Thor, and when she saw his character, she thought he was Thor.
Wow.
So that's how I knew him as,
Was
younger.
Thor.
Yeah.
There's some crossover
So,
right there.
okay, so Wes, why did you pick it?
I thought it was just a fun 80s movie,
It is
and
fun.
Elizabeth Shue is.
I mean, Elizabeth Shue is worthy.
Does she
of
look
a
better in that
rewatch.
movie than Karate Kid?
Oh.
I think she looks better in Cobra Kai now.
Yeah,
Hey.
I would agree.
She has aged well.
Good answer.
Yes, she has.
Yeah. I've seen it.
I would like to put some Johnny's
and
cheese sauce.
No, don't make it. Okay, it was good up until no.
Okay, we went there. We went there.
Hey, it's fine.
Okay.
And Megan says, okay.
Okay, Megan says okay.
I'm
Yeah.
okay with that.
Good. Okay, so first crossover.
But it is a fun movie.
I do want to give credit for Megan. I said I was really saying 0. I had to say 1. But Megan and you may make a second connection. That is definitely a possibility now. Wes, number 5.
One Crazy Summer.
One Crazy Summer.
But Megan, do you even know that one?
No,
Okay.
I don't
think I've
so.
seen it either.
Well, who is in that?
John Cusack.
Oh my gosh.
Oh no! Now I know what you're talking. I don't.
Demi
remember.
Moore. Wow. Bobcat Goldthwait.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh!
that sounds so. Yes, that sounds so familiar.
I don't think I've
Just
seen
a silly 80s movie. And I used to
it.
watch
Sounds
it
like
all the
gold
time
already.
because we had, of course, rented it and made a copy off our VHS machines
VHS.
that we called Spaceships in 1987. So, yep,
That's
One
great.
Crazy
What was that?
Summer.
The title?
One Crazy Summer.
Crazy Summer. I'm adding it to my list.
I'm making a list too.
Oh yeah, that's the hope of this podcast for our listeners as well. I think is to help make a list of. Oh yeah, I saw that once, or what the heck, and I need to watch that.
Yeah, the actors sound good. Let me look this up.
All right.
Yeah.
I'd watch anything with Cusack and Bobcat and who else?
Demi Moore.
And Demi Moore. Like, why wouldn't you watch
and
it?
that actually fits the bill for a forgotten 80s movie because those are big stars and no one would recall that. Good pick.
Thanks.
No, that's a good
Number
one.
number
I'm gonna have
5,
to watch that one.
Benjamin.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to shuffle some of these down. I had put Firestarter by Stephen King on here.
Drew Barrymore?
Drew Barrymore. And
I
it-
felt like somebody was going to put that on their list.
Firestarter was just because it was one of the first, I guess, sci-fi movies. It wasn't. I don't know if you call it sci-fi. What was it? What would it be like a? Because this girl
Supernatural?
Supernatural, perhaps. It was probably the first supernatural movie I ever saw. And then she can just stare at stuff and make things burst into flames. I don't even like the movie that much, but just I don't remember seeing things like that. Really, ever. Like, it's so rare. Now, maybe watching bad television and Supernatural and stuff like that, that happens all the time, but otherwise, no. But I don't know. I just loved it as a kid. And I couldn't even tell you why. I watched it probably a dozen times as a kid, but I'm like, why do I like this? It's just a rapt attention kind of thing.
My number 5 is very similar to that from 1986, Space Camp.
Space
The
Camp.
only person to note is a very young Joaquin Phoenix. It's about these 5 or 6 kids that go to space camp in Huntsville, Alabama or whatever, but then they get on a real shuttle and they get launched into space and they have to work together as a team. They didn't mean to launch the shuttle. They were just going in there to look around or
course,
whatever.
and somebody
it's
fell
one of
on the
those.
launch
It's like
button.
Explorers or something. These kids built a spaceship, so it's got the premise is a stretch, But I remember watching that all the time and loving it and wanting to go to space
That's
camp in
about to say,
Huntsville.
'cause you wanted to go to space.
Well, man, there's a good chance as a kid I can go get in a rocket.
Yeah.
You know, but that was mine, and that's another one. I don't remember that well today because I haven't seen it, but that's why it's number 5.
Yeah. A lot of these I haven't watched lately. Like even going through and making this list, I'm like, I really need to watch that again. So yeah.
Right.
Agreed.
Hit us with your number 4, Megan.
All right, number 4.
Okay, so this one may be really stupid, but again, I have not seen this one since I was a kid, so I apologize in advance.
Look, they're all really stupid. They're 80s
but
movies.
it's Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Yeah. That's a good one.
No, it's not on yours.
Is it?
It is not.
Okay, good.
Yes. But yes. I rewatched it recently, and it was tough to get through some of it. But it was still...
You still love it, though.
It's still enjoyable.
I would watch it. I just haven't looked it up to watch it, but I was talking to somebody about it the other day, a coworker, and she had no idea what this movie was. And she's
Had
older
never
than-
even heard of it?
Never even heard of it. And she's
Wow.
older than me. And I'm like, how is that possible? So
That's amazing. And like I came over recently and caught you watching The Wizard of Oz, and we were commenting on how like wow, it looks so clear and all the details you can see in HD now. And Roger Rabbit was like that then recently when I watched it. It's like wow, look at that. And Bob Hoskins just that's the most incredible animated, like, there's nothing there performance that I've seen in a long time. And that was one of the first ones ever. But they did a great job of Hopkins.
Before
Hoskins.
blue screen.
Yeah,
green screen.
and he
Christopher
sold
Lloyd.
it 100%
Yeah.
as an actor.
yeah.
Sold it.
Where was those acting chops on Super Mario Brothers? That's what I want to know.
gosh. What a nightmare.
Run out, out, run out, now.
Aren't they remaking
Wah,
that?
wah,
Didn't they
wah.
greenlight another version of that
Oh,
soon?
I
think it's coming.
It needs him in it. And
Yeah,
John
yeah,
Leguizamo, right?
I don't know.
There we go. So 4 was Adventures in Babysitting for Wes.
Correct.
What is 4
Oh.
for you?
For me is Enemy Mine with
Dennis Quaid.
Yes, that was another one I watched all the time as a kid, and a lot of stories reference Enemy Mine, and I think a lot of people just don't know. Like, what is this they're referencing? What is happening here? And that story's been told a lot. It's like one of the best episodes of Star Trek: The Next Generation is, what's it called?
Where he only has 7 words in his dialect.
Yeah, and they have to go down and learn because the alien speaks only in metaphors. And
Talk.
so-
the river
yeah.
that flows or something,
at
whatever.
Tanagra,
At
something
Tanagra,
like that.
yeah.
And that's just such a good moment. But that's Enemy Mine, basically.
You know, I've recently seen some stuff on that where people are talking about it's a brilliant forgotten film.
Yeah, he crash lands, an alien crash lands, and they're both stranded, and they're both
But
starving to
they're
death.
in the middle of a war, and they're both enemies.
Exactly.
But it's just them on a planet.
And they have to work
Trying to
together
survive,
at the end,
yeah.
and they become friends, kind of thing. But not without a lot of hardship first.
Really crazy.
Yeah, but
Wow.
it's a great moment of like figuring out and realizing cross-cultural things. Like this is just he's not being malicious. He's just he's doing what he does. It's normal, and that's a good human lesson that we all need to remember from time to time. So
Yeah. Okay, so my number 4 is our second crossover.
really,
Yep. Punch it.
like I
Avocado Women of the Jungle of Death. No?
not the
Wait,
second
hold on.
crossover.
No, it's Cannibal Women of the Avocado Jungle of
that's
Death.
not the second crossover.
That's not a crossover? I'm shocked. I'm not kidding. That's the name of the movie.
See, I called it. That this was gonna be some weird
Okay.
stuff.
You know who's in it? Back before he did
Elizabeth
Politically
Shue.
Incorrect, Bill Maher, the actor.
Bill Maher.
Bill Maher, the actor, is starring in it. It's it's one of the spoof, but not
Wait,
done by...
What's the title?
Cannibal Women of the Avocado Jungle of Death.
That sounds like something made up from Calvin and Hobbes that he wants to watch.
Yeah.
It probably is.
Wow. All right,
But,
tell me more.
But Bill Maher is like an Indiana Jones type guy, but kind of a coward. He goes into the Avocado Jungle of Death to find
Just
the
that's a misnomer.
piranha, the cannibal women who
Avocados
live
aren't
there.
scary.
But one of the doctors, one of the scientists, has disappeared in the Avocado Jungle of Death. And what does he end up bringing? All his supplies, tortilla chips, because there's puddles of avocado.
I wish that this podcast could convey Megan's face right now over
This
the
is
air.
And why are they cannibal women? Are you ready?
Tell me. They
Because
ran out of
they're-
chips?
Because they're feminist, and they eat men.
They eat men only.
Yes. So they're eating. They're trying to eat Bill Maher.
I mean, I can
It's-
understand why this is a forgotten
Okay,
movie.
do you remember? I've talked about this to one of you. USA Today's Up
It
All
needs
Night.
to be
USA
forgotten.
Channel's Up All Night with Rhonda
Sheer.
Shear.
Oh
Yeah.
my
Yes.
word.
That was the first time I saw the movie. And I watched it because
I
of
thought you were
Rhonda
saying that's
Shear.
the first time it moved.
That maybe. Rhonda Shear.
How do you think Bill Maher feels about this movie? No.
I don't know. Oh, I bet he
Probably
stands by it.
embarrassed.
No, I bet he stands by it.
Might love it. He seems to be the kind of guy.
No
that's like,
regrets.
Yeah, I did
No
that.
regrets. But it's just a campy, mocking fun of Indiana Jones type thing. Adventure, jungle
Was
adventure
it
things.
post Indiana Jones?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
At least the first one had come out since
Okay.
then. But really fun. Okay, so
Cool.
it wasn't a crossover, you sure?
I'm pretty positive.
Okay, so what's number 3, missus?
What is number 3? Okay, so there's several that go with this movie, but I had forgotten about it until I came across the first one, which the first one's not my favorite, but I had to add it to my list because it is The Revenge of the Nerds.
Revenge of the Nerds was on my original list. It got bumped out.
I almost put it on mine.
I love those movies.
No way.
Yes.
I haven't watched it lately. That's the reason I bumped it
I
out.
watched the first one probably it was when COVID first shut everything down.
Yeah.
And I was going through movies to watch on TV.
What a choice.
And that one came up,
as
but I
soon
can't
as COVID
find the
happens,
other
you go
ones.
for Revenge of the Nerds.
Yes, I was like, you know what? I'm home. I have nothing else to do. Might as
Right.
well watch it.
Back when we thought it was a temporary thing.
A 3 week.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
But why? Why did you enjoy it this second time around? And how long had it been since you'd seen it the first time?
Oh, it had been a long time. since I'd
Forever.
seen
So
it.
what
Yeah.
now as an adult did you like it? For?
Well, there's one particular one that I liked better, and I can't remember. It's the one where they're at
Like one of the
beach.
7 or 8 that they made, you
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
You might remember that or no.
I think it was like number 3 when they went to the beach.
to be in
Wow.
Miami or something. Yeah, but I watched.
It's kind of like when
the first
Saved
one.
by the Bell went to the beach.
Okay.
You're like, this is losing
Same,
me.
same thing, but just in a different
You know,
setting.
they're running out of shit, so we're going to change the setting
But it's
Yeah,
so
change the setting
dumb.
for the
But it's
Jesse
cinematography.
still got
so-
caffeine pills, so it's the same thing.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
I mean, it's so dumb, but I love that. It's so campy, but I love it.
Yeah.
But no, the first one wasn't as bad as I remembered it.
That's on my list to go back and watch for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Wow, almost had a second one. She's
Did you?
going to win this. No, I'm not.
Oh, okay.
No.
Did you ever watch Revenge of the Nerds?
No, no.
I was gonna say I don't even think he.
There's
knows
no
what
way
that
you
is.
would even be allowed to even come close to watching Revenge of the
Okay.
Nerds as a kid.
Yeah, I was watching
Yeah.
Cannibal Women of the Avocado Jungle of Death
That's
back
a
then.
good
so
point.
Okay, you
Why?
can watch that one, you can
How
watch
old were you when
Revenge
you
of the Nerds.
saw Cannibal Women of the Jungle of Death?
I
And
don't
is
know,
that rated
15,
R?
16, 14.
Is
I
it
don't
rated
know.
R?
I don't know.
It must be,
It was
right?
TV.
I mean,
It was a TV edit.
that's right.
I don't know.
Because as we found out last week, we found out that you thought that the line from Ferris Bueller's Day Off was when you shove a lump of coal up Cameron's
Oh, yeah, because that's what the
in
TV
Cameron's
edit
fist.
said. In 2 weeks, you have a diamond.
In 2 weeks, you have
In
a
his
diamond.
fist.
In his fist. But yes.
Clutch my church pearls when I found out what the real line was. All right.
Number
Wes.
3,
Johnny Dangerously.
Johnny Dangerous. This is one I've heard of but never seen.
Yeah, I've heard of it, but I've never seen it.
Oh, man. No, who is
Michael
that?
Keaton.
Michael Keaton. Tell us
I don't
more.
think I've ever
I'd
seen
watch
that one.
it.
Tell
I'd
us
watch it.
more.
It's just one of those movies that was on HBO all the time, and TBS all the time, and WGN all the time
No
in the
royalties to
80s.
worry about.
Huh.
And it's kind of slapstick silly, and it's when Michael Keaton was Mr. Mom and all the
Yeah.
stuff before he became Batman.
Oh. At the end of that decade.
The best Batman.
I agree. Those lips,
Those lips.
they would sink my ship.
I like how Megan's writing all your picks down to watch later.
Well, we have
Okay.
good taste.
I like Michael
That's it.
Keaton.
She agrees about Elizabeth Shue and cheese sauce.
That's right.
She's an up-to-date lady.
I mean, hey,
Okay.
she did
All right.
age well.
So did Michael Keaton, in your opinion?
Yes.
Oh.
I mean, of course.
Okay. That's a dumb question.
Him and Kevin Costner. Right now, this age.
Right now,
This
And
age.
he's
old man Kevin Costner.
I don't care.
Take me to the field of dreams.
Yes.
Okay.
Play ball.
Play ball. Number 3.
Number 3 for me is a bit of a more popular movie, but I was surprised how many people I have met who have not seen Say Anything with John Cusack.
That was on my list and then I moved it.
You moved it out. Okay, so
moved
we
it.
had crossover in our
Yes.
cross out list.
Yes.
I just want to say there was a lot of hand waving going
There
on
was
when
a
you said
lot.
the
There
name.
was a
Megan
very
was
excited.
excited.
I love that movie.
It's a
It's a
coming of age
magnificent
movie.
and
It
I think
is.
everybody should have seen it. But I've been shocked lately, and the only reason it made my top 5 is because I'm like, you don't know what they're
When you say
doing
everyone,
there?
do you say people our age? Because kids would never.
I think that-
anyone 10 years younger than us would
I
never.
disagree.
I would almost think
because I
it-
think a lot of girls would have seen it because of Cusack and the holding the radio up at the end to get
Yes.
the girls' attention. That is a
Yes.
famous scene
But
from Hollywood.
listen to this. So a lot of people younger than me know Pretty in Pink. They know 16 Candles.
Yes.
They know that genre.
But they don't know
But
Say
they don't know
Anything.
Say Anything.
Why not? You think?
I don't know.
What were you going to say?
I was agreeing with your point. I think if you're maybe younger than 35, but I think if you're between 50 and 35, you should have seen
should have
Say
seen it,
Anything.
yeah.
If I say if you're a decade younger, then yes. Then you probably.
That's
I
what
would
I'm
be
saying,
more
third off
giving,
is
'cause,
the
I
cutoff
mean, now
age.
there's kids out there. I never saw Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, Return. They've never seen those. They're like 17.
Right.
You know,
I mean, I get
Well, it's a
that.
different kind of movie now, I think.
that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Like Star Wars then was like,
That was
it was Burger
mind
King.
altering. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just like, it was just culture. And now it's very fragmented and,
Right.
That's a good point.
you know.
Yeah, just.
But as far as rom-coms go, like Say Anything just seems to be something that, like Megan watches a lot of holiday, what's the word? Hallmark specials, you know, and it's not exactly a Hallmark movie, but it's just got such
If
classic.
Hallmarks were big in the 80s, that's what it would have
Yeah,
been.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And so, but I've just been shocked at how many people don't know the reference when somebody's holding a boombox over their head trying to get someone's
Exactly.
attention. And
Right.
But there's been
Well-
recent movies where that's been done.
Exactly. And I'm
in
like, oh, they're
reference to
doing
that
Say
movie.
Anything.
Yeah,
And they're
but
like,
nobody
what?
gets it. Yeah.
How do you not? Okay. So that's, I don't know, maybe I'm showing my
Now
age
it's
with
just
that.
I
very
remember
inside
Night at the
baseball.
Roxbury was the first one to knock it off. I remember that.
Love that movie.
Oh my God. Of course you do.
Wait till we get to the 90s.
What is your
All
number
right.
3?
You know this movie, but it's not on your list.
Oh.
Lucas.
Lucas.
That is a good movie.
It's a great movie.
I don't
It
know
has
Lucas.
Tom Cruise,
Good.
right? Is it Tom Cruise, the quarterback?
I'm not sure.
Okay, and that's about it. I don't know if it has anyone else, but the thing is, it's about
Yeah.
it's the most 80s movie.
doesn't it have one of the
Corey
Corys in
it's
it?
Corey Haim.
Yeah.
Is Corey Haim's the main kid, right?
Yeah,
I was gonna say
that's
it was
who
Corey
I know it
Feldman,
as.
but-
He's Lucas.
Yeah. Okay, that's it. So it's one of the most 80s movies, meaning it's the nerdy kid who collects butterflies, insects. He's trying to get the girl. This the quarterback is the cool guy.
Sure.
It's Tom Cruise, but it's the most. It looks 80s because he's poor, she's rich. He's embarrassed to have her drop him off at his
Man,
house.
all the tropes.
All the tropes. But then totally takes a U-turn. The quarterback, Tom Cruise, not a douchebag.
Okay.
He becomes Lucas's friend and defends him from even though Lucas is in love with his girlfriend.
From the rest of the football
The
team.
quarterback
or
isn't a douche. And
No, it's
wait,
not Tom Cruise.
Oh, who
it's
is-
Charlie Sheen.
Charlie Sheen. So close. Samsonite. I was so close. Okay, I knew it was someone.
We're disqualifying your pick. You don't even know the actors.
okay.
Boo.
Anyway, Charlie Sheen,
And
Charlie-
there's
Tom
other writers
Cruise.
in it too.
But Charlie Sheen is a nice guy. Usually she's dating the jerk,
Yeah,
right?
he's the antagonist. Yeah.
Okay, so at the end, he plays football, and they finally put him in at the very end. And then he runs out. He's wide open because no one thought to cover him because he's a little kid. And they throw it to him. He's wide open in the end zone.
And he
Drops the ball. And then on top of that, gets dog piled on and injured. And then they said, oh, you know what? We need to have something 80s in here again. So how it ends is he doesn't get the girl. He's all busted up, bruised up. He has his arm in a sling.
Okay.
He goes into his locker and he sees a football jersey. The football jacket. He's part
Oh, the
part of
Letterman
the
jacket
team.
or whatever?
And then
Okay.
that one person.
The one clap.
The one
right
clap
first?
where everyone
Yeah.
starts clapping. But the thing is, though, doesn't get the girl.
Doesn't get the girl. Doesn't save
Doesn't
the day.
doesn't win the game.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really.
Is that why
really
you liked
good.
it so much? Is because of the change?
I always loved it as a kid because it had in fact, you know how in Karate Kid, Daniel got the comeuppance on Johnny.
Especially
the
in the
bullies
80s,
get the
every
comeuppance
movie
on
ends that
Lucas
way.
every time. They put hot cream or whatever on
Yeah.
his. So he puts that. He has that on his jock and has to run out into the track and field for some reason. And
That's
all
in
the girls
Revenge
are
of the
laughing
Nerds
at him
also.
as he's sitting down on the water fountain to cool off his genitals. And it's so embarrassing.
Very
But,
80s,
but
yes.
it's like, wait a minute, shouldn't you be getting revenge on him? But he can't because he just never does.
Interesting.
It's the most 80s / un-80s movie.
Interesting.
They tried to avoid every trope. And back then in the 80s, wow.
So they started with the trope checklist and then just flipped it around.
It makes you think it plays like an 80s movie, but everything is different.
I like it.
Yeah. All right, so
It's worth watching.
there you go. Number 2.
Okay, this will not be on anyone's list, but I liked it. It's also a Dennis Quaid movie,
Yes.
but
Inner
it
Space.
is no.
That was on my list. but-
It is Great Balls of Fire.
Great Balls of Fire. Tell me about Great Balls of Fire.
I should have known that would be on your list.
Love this movie. So he plays Jerry Lee Lewis throughout,
One of the greatest performers of all time.
Yes, he is.
Mm-hmm.
But so it's supposed to be like a documentary, but it's not a documentary because from what I've read and studied on, some things
Just
aren't
based on the
true.
life of?
Yes.
Okay.
But he does a great performance of Jerry Lee Lewis. So
Did you get to see Jerry Lee?
I did.
You did see him recently. fairly
2019,
recently.
January
Yeah.
of 2019.
Wow.
Yeah, we got
that
to
was
see
one
him.
of the last things, right?
Yeah,
Wow, that's
before COVID.
amazing.
Before
Wow.
COVID. He hasn't been on tour since.
Man.
He was going to go in 2020 and then cancel.
How cool.
But go ahead.
He still plays piano.
So
very well.
would you say he did a great job because you've seen the real thing?
Yeah. I think he did great. Obviously he didn't sing the songs. He lip sing.
Of course.
He lip sung most
Sure,
of
nobody
them,
can
but,
do that.
I mean, he learned to
I
play.
guess people can, but yeah.
He learned to play the piano and
Oh,
stuff.
that's cool.
But I mean, he does a really good impersonation of Jerry Lee.
Nice.
She's seen this multiple times.
I don't know that one. I need to watch it.
Okay. Yeah.
For sure.
It took me forever to find a DVD copy of it because I kept telling Matt like I want to watch this movie again.
And did
I
you watch it
finally found
recently?
one. Oh yeah.
And is it different from when you remembered it
Nope,
in the 80s?
exactly the same.
Just as much fun?
Yep. I
Wow.
loved it even more.
That's cool.
All right. Wes, number 2.
Uncle Buck.
Uncle Buck! I forgot about Uncle Buck. John
Well,
Candy.
I guess that's why it's on the list.
Exactly. That's why I added it. That's why I dropped that. That's
Hold
beautiful.
on. I may change number 5 to Uncle Buck. That's a good pick.
I need to rewatch Uncle Buck. I remember having good fun.
Just say it's Macaulay Culkin's basically his first movie.
Pre Home Alone.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Pre Home
And
Alone. That's
it's-
how Howard. That's how. What's his name?
John
The
Hughes.
director, John Hughes, discovered him. Right.
And John Candy's at his height,
prime.
I would say.
Yes.
And it's got a lot of the same 80s checklist, the very artsy girl who's,
Right.
embarrassed by her delinquent uncle and, that kind of stuff. So,
As
The
an uncle
silhouette
to
of
so
him with
many
the
nieces
drill.
and nephews,
Yeah.
I wonder how
The-
many times that's been
Here's a
made.
quarter. Get a rat to chew that thing off your face.
it's just really, I figured out of what we were discussing, maybe I've forgotten.
That's really good because we all knew it, but we all
But
forgot
this is
to put it
your
on the
number
list.
2.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why so high?
I think because of John Candy had so many movies and Macaulay Culkin had so many movies after he became such a big star.
This was the
Yeah.
passing of the torch between the two.
Well, it was just like before before Macaulay Culkin became Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah.
So, and he was such a big kid actor going
Right.
into the next decade.
Yeah.
Cool.
Wow, what a good pick. All right, number 2.
Raising Arizona.
That's another good one.
Nicolas Cage being Nicolas Cage, some finest Nicolas Cage, and John Goodman. Just
Helen Hunt's good in that
blew-
too. Was that her
Blew
name?
my mind.
Was Helen Hunt the girl in it?
I don't recall, to be honest, because I didn't watch the movie recently. I need to rewatch it, but
That's a good pick.
When I looked this up, because I remembered, when did Raising Arizona come out? And I looked it up, and then I watched a few YouTube clips. I'm like, I have got to rewatch this movie, but I don't remember. I didn't watch anything with the girl, so I don't know who the girl was. But when John Goodman broke out of prison, and he's getting out of the mud, and he's climbing up out of the mud, and he's just screaming. Who was it?
It's H.H.
Holly Hunter.
Holly Hunter.
She is
When
funny as
Goodman is
hell.
breaking out of prison, he's screaming at the top of his lungs. Like, all I could think about was listening. Like, there must be a director off screen saying, "No, I need bigger, no, do it again." Ah! And he's just yelling. It's one of the greatest moments I've ever seen.
It's
any
good
actor do.
one-liners.
It's such good one-liners, and Nick Cage just being crazy-eyed Nick Cage. Oh,
That mustache.
Is it true that Wendy Ryland can quote
Coen
the
Brothers,
first 5
goodness.
minutes of that film?
I have no idea.
What about the
I
first
think
5
Wendy
minutes?
Ryland
Wendy.
can quote.
Oh.
the first 5 or
Really?
whatever of that. I think she can.
Wow, I gotta
She's
talk
seen
to
that so
Wendy
many
about
times.
this.
I think. I can't remember.
And I think Goodman, in a way, just kind of has that John Candy vibe in this because he's an idiot and he walks into the bank. And one of my favorite scenes, he walks into the bank with a shotgun and he's like, "All right, everybody freeze on the floor now." And everybody stands there and there's a bunch of old guys and he says, "Well, which is it, partner? You want us to freeze or you want us on the ground?" He's like, "Okay, shut up, everybody on the ground." He's just perfect. That's a classic 80s trope, like the big idiot kind
Yeah.
of thing. And he is the icon of the big dumb idiot in that movie. I love every minute of it, so it's great.
All right. Well, after 2 solid back-to-back picks, I'm going to break that streak.
Tell me more about the Cannibal Women.
No, this is another movie that played on TBS all the time. Space Pirates.
Space Pirates?
Oh,
You don't remember this?
I hate that movie.
I've got nothing.
You don't like? I own it on DVD. No, Ice Pirates. Excuse me, Ice Pirates.
Pirates.
Ice
Do you hate
Pirates.
that one too?
They're in.
I do.
They're in space. It is
Are they Ice Pirates in
Star
space?
Wars came out in the Jedi. We're going to do one too, but we don't have the budget.
Oh,
It's
no.
a Mystery Science Theater
What-
movie.
Yeah,
MST3K fodder?
Almost, but
waste of time.
with a lot more witty humor.
We should watch that as Mystery Science Theater.
MST3K?
Yes.
Yeah. I'd love that.
But yeah, so that because it was on TBS all the time, no one talks about it. I found it on DVD a long time ago. I was so happy because it ain't streaming anywhere, I'll tell you that.
Wow.
But Ice Pirates is the name. They're in space.
I really
though.
wonder what the story is with the royalties on things like that because, Star Trek got big because it was free. They didn't have to pay license or royalty fees to any of the actors, so it was
Yeah.
free to air.
The main actor was the guy from Spencer for Hire. He was very popular on TV shows back in the day. I can't think of his name right now. But okay,
I'm
anyway,
in the black.
moving on.
No, I'm just so happy that my prediction's coming true so far. That all of yours are so obscure. Like, what
Yeah.
the hell? I just knew that was going to happen.
But I didn't have to look up any of these. I knew immediately. Okay, so even though I will say Uncle Buck and Raising Arizona are excellent picks. Excellent.
I think
picks.
this also fits into your board game collection too. Just stuff that no one's ever heard
Probably.
of. What are priceless gems is my guess because I've played so many board games
To
at
me.
your house that I'm like, what? Are you want to play
If
him?
I wasn't married to him, I would not have heard of like half of the movies he likes.
Ice
I thought she was going to say if she's not married to him now, she wouldn't marry him
Yeah.
Well,
after
I mean,
these picks.
There we go. All right,
Not after these picks. Are you kidding me?
yeah.
Nerd alert!
Number
the board games.
Revenge of the Nerds. Okay, number 1.
So I don't even. Have
Oh,
to
I
look
know
at
what
my-
it is.
Oh.
I don't even have to look at my list, and you probably do know what it is.
I do.
What
But
is
here's
it?
the thing. So before you say anything, I don't think it's not forgotten with us, but kind of like what you mentioned earlier about people not knowing this movie.
Yeah, how do you not know?
It's so popular. I feel like it's so popular. People should know it, but they don't.
Okay.
What do you think it is?
It's Beaches.
It is not Beaches.
Oh, what is it then? I don't know.
The Lost Boys.
Lost Boys. The vampire?
The vampire.
movie? Oh, okay. No, people don't know the Lost Boys, I think. That's amazing.
I love The Lost Boys.
Uh,
I do too.
See? Oh, it's such
I mean-
a good.
Yeah, that's an awesome movie.
But
It is a
there's
pretty
so
awesome
many
movie.
people that do not know what that movie is. And
Well,
I'm
they
so
were sexy
surprised.
vampires before Twilight.
They were the
were.
original, the OG.
They were like
sexy
Motley
vampires.
Crue, but vampires.
They look like rock stars. You're right.
Kiefer Sutherland, that was my
Kiefer.
crush for the longest time
Yeah.
from that movie.
That was some serious Kiefer.
I love me some Kiefer.
Good stuff.
Jason Patrick was okay, but Kiefer Sutherland?
Yeah.
There you go. They say I look just like Kiefer Sutherland with blonde hair.
I don't know.
Who was they?
Okay, I'm kidding.
And the whole table says, ah.
All right, good pick. Numero uno,
That
Wes.
is a good movie. I need to rewatch
Bad
that.
Boys, not the Will Smith movie
Oh,
I've never heard of this.
Bad
Ed.
Boys.
with Sean Penn.
With
Oh, the
Sean
cop show.
Penn.
No, I still don't know about this.
It's like he's like in a reform school, boys' home kind of thing,
I'm writing this one down.
and he's like in prison. And it's one of those movies that came on TBS late because it was a little violent and a little edgy.
Was
So
it always on TBS?
Wow.
always on TBS.
Wow. So was the other
So
Bad
like
Boys.
TBS was the Netflix before Netflix because they could just buy
they
up
had
the
all the
license.
Ted Turner
everything.
had baseball, Andy Griffith, and wrestling, and odd movies.
always
Yeah.
something
He bought
on.
he bought MGM's.
Turner Classics.
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yep.
See, there it is.
Back
You
in the
just buy
day,
up
he
a
had
bunch
all
of cheap
the
stuff.
archives of them.
Because that's how Netflix made their billions. They bought the franchise or the rights to play all these shows that no one watched
Yeah.
anymore and
Made it popular
Made a
again. Yeah, second
bajillion
round.
dollars off of it.
What's number one for you?
Number one for me is The Burbs with Tom Hanks
And Corey Feldman.
and Corey Feldman and a lot of magnificent actors. And again, is on the number one spot because A, it's a magnificent movie as a kid and as an adult. Number two, shockingly surprised how many people have never seen The Burbs. And it's just such a good movie, period. It's not dated at all. Like, it's got some dated jokes in it, but it's just a fun story about a quote-unquote haunted house, and they want to find the buried bodies in the backyard and the dog digging it up. It's just such good. It's amazing. I just like timeless stories.
I know
and
that
feels
one.
like one of them for sure.
I like how the Coreys have been represented on this.
The Coreys have
can't get away from them.
Corey Haim and Lucas, Corey Feldman, and Corey Haim in
Yeah.
Lost Boys.
That's
And
right.
then Corey Feldman here.
Yeah. So,
Our our third, three
it's
crossover.
just-
Okay.
It won the top spot. Just
Is yours
because of,
licensed to drive?
It being a better
No.
movie.
Oh,
It's just a good movie. That's the reason it's my number one.
Okay, so I won by default because I felt like I had to pick number one, but I'm going to give that win to Megan since she actually thought there'd be crossover, and I was almost convinced there wouldn't. But my number one is Robert Redford, The Natural.
The Natural, where he makes the baseball.
Where he makes the lightning strikes the tree.
Yeah.
He makes the baseball bat out of the broken
Yeah.
tree. It's kind of based loosely off a real story.
Doesn't his dad die or
And-
something because
yeah.
of that? The lightning or something? Or did
I don't remember that, but a fan, when he's a rookie, a fan shoots him because she's obsessed with him, and then he
Like you
kind of
do.
loses his career that way. But he comes back late in his life to play in the majors,
Nice.
and it has a great soundtrack. He's the one that he hits he's bleeding or something. What he has a drinking problem, right? No one knows
shucks,
this.
I don't remember
But anyway,
now.
his liver kidney starts bleeding. I don't know, and he hits the home run. Of
Yeah.
course, it's the last at bat of his career. His
Isn't
last
that like the
grasp for-
slow-mo moment of the...
and it hits the lights up in
Yeah.
the shower of sparks as he's running around. Da da da, da da da.
Yeah. That probably inspired every Michael Bay movie ever. that was
Baby.
probably Michael Bay's
You're not-
inspiration.
Michael Bay was sitting there going,
Oh, my
"Every
God.
movie I make will have this.
I will have this moment in
I will
it.
have
yeah.
this moment in every one."
Except with a helicopter.
except slower.
Slower. and worse.
You know what this needs? Slower.
and double the
down.
run time.
Slow it down.
Okay, so there you go. There's our top five.
Magnificent. The Natural's
Forgotten
a good pick,
80s.
though. I wouldn't have thought about that. I never would have guessed that would be your number one. That's actually a really good movie. Unlike
Yeah, it's
Cannibal
not
Windhouse.
obscure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not
That's
that
the best
obscure.
of all.
I think we all kind of went with a more well-known top
That's fine.
spot,
Yeah.
didn't we?
Familiar.
Because we're like,
Yeah.
you people need to watch this movie next Saturday.
Morning.
Samoflange.